as I said, if anyone's recording this, please let me know. I'm going to do a little tribute right now to the great James Garner. If anybody questioned or was wondering how big of a fan I was of James Garner and of his show, The Rockford Files, all you have to do is go to my website, which is called The Ottos Files. And that was done as a tip of the hat to James Garner and The Rockford Files. I loved that show as a kid. I love it now as an adult. I own all the seasons on DVD, and I've been watching them all week. And the greatness of that show is witnessed by the fact that it never gets old. It's not stale. It's not dated. It is still as clever and funny and witty and entertaining today as it was, 35, 40 years ago when they made these episodes of The Rockford Files. Just a great show. And it's because of him. I mean, there were great characters in there. Angel and Rocky and Beth and Dennis and all his pals. But it was Jim Rockford that made you watch the show. He was the reason you watched the show. He was a guy who ultimately just really wanted to be left alone. He wanted to work some, easy insurance fraud cases and then have the rest of the time to go fishing with his father, Rocky. But ultimately he got dragged into some of the most dangerous and ridiculous cases. And he always was hanging around these con men and shysters and goofy guys, but Jim was just too good of a guy to turn anybody down. And that was ultimately, if you've read all the obituaries this week and the appreciations, that was James Garner himself. He was a good guy. He had integrity. He had honor. And he was the real deal. He wasn't a phony. He wasn't a Hollywood phony. In fact, he had very little tolerance for that Hollywood phoniness. A couple times, 2 or 3 times, in fact, he bucked the system and won. And he sued Warner Brothers and he sued Universal when they tried to cheat him. And everyone always told him, it's going to ruin your career. You'll never work in this town again. And somehow he kept working. The reason he kept working was because he was just so good. That's why people wanted him. Oh, he was great. And he's going to be missed. I'm going to play a couple quotes for you. Right now I'm going to play something, a piece, and I was going to cut it down, but I decided to leave the whole 2 minutes and 30 seconds, whatever it is. It's from the movie I mentioned earlier called The Americanization of Emily. It's my all-time favorite James Garner movie. It was James Garner's favorite movie that he ever made. He made it with Julie Andrews and James Coburn and Melvin Douglas back in 1964, the year I was born. And it's about a guy who gets roped into filming the invasion of Omaha Beach on D-Day against his will. They kind of trick him into it, and then he's forced into it. And he's not a coward, but he doesn't believe in the hypocrisy of war. And in this particular scene, he's with Julie Andrews and her mother is a bit shell-shocked. She's been in denial for a few months because her husband and son have both died because of the war, but she's going along happily as if nothing terrible has happened, and he kind of shocks her back into reality in this exchange.
After every war,